Welcome to the ultimate royal wedding, where gods literally crash the party. Today, we're diving into an explainer of a classical tale that escalates from a single weeping princess to a full-blown cosmic standoff. We're unpacking a fascinating piece of ancient source material that, honestly, reads like the ultimate blockbuster movie script. We've got romance, we've got massive armies, and we have immortal beings who just cannot stand missing out on a good party.
So what actually happens when a royal wedding attracts the attention of the gods themselves? It's a premise that guarantees some earth-shaking drama. But what's truly incredible about this narrative is that all of this escalating tension, all of this crazy divine interference, well, it doesn't begin with a great war or a dispute over their territory. It starts with something incredibly intimate and human.
Part 1. The Lovesick Princess. Our story kicks off with Princess Damayanti. After hearing a magical swan speak of a man named King Nala, she is instantly and irrevocably changed. She completely loses herself to lovesickness, just pacing around and crying out constantly. The text doesn't just say she's a little sad, it gives us a super dramatic direct quote, "Oh, and alas." She's heaving frequent sighs, she's filled with anxiety, and she is weeping day and night. The ancient source describes her heart as being completely possessed by the god of love. She is totally consumed by the idea of a man she hasn't even met yet. And the physical and psychological symptoms of her lovesickness? They are severe. This is way beyond a mild crush. She has a pale and lean face and this upturned gaze of constant abstraction. The source text actually goes so far as to say she looks like one demented. She refuses to lie down, she refuses to sit, and she's lost all inclination for enjoyment. Naturally, her handmaids notice these severe physical and mental symptoms. She's practically acting out of her mind, and they realize they need to do something. So they go to her father, King Bhima, and drop some extremely heavy hints that his daughter needs a serious intervention.
Which brings us to part 2, calling the Swayamvara. King Bhima, being a pretty pragmatic ruler, decides his daughter's severe illness is a clear sign that it's time for her to get married. So he calls for a Swayamvara. Basically, this is an ancient practice where a woman chooses her husband from a massive congregation of invited suitors. And the king doesn't just send out a few casual local invitations, he sends messages to all the heroes and rulers of the entire earth proclaiming that Damayanti's Swayamvara is at hand. He is throwing the ultimate matchmaking event to cure his daughter's broken heart. As you might guess, the response is absolutely overwhelming. It fills the earth with this chaotic sensory explosion as massive armies arrive, all taking up quarters just to win her hand. Just picture it. The text paints a picture of an ancient world traffic jam of epic proportions. The earth is literally shaking with the clatter of their cars, the roar of their war elephants, and the neighing of their horses. These aren't just single suitors showing up with a bouquet of flowers. These are kings arriving with entire fine-looking battalions, totally decked out in ornaments and graceful garlands. It is a massive flex of wealth, power, and military might, all concentrated in one single place.
Moving on to Part 3. News reaches heaven. Meanwhile, way up in the celestial realms, the wandering sages Narada and Parvata arrive to visit Indra, the lord of the immortals. And this creates a hilarious contrast between expectation and reality. Indra, the slayer of foes, is looking around heaven and wondering where everybody is. See, Indra's expectation is that he should be welcoming deceased righteous warriors, kings who fought bravely and met death by weapons on the battlefield. He asks Narada where his favorite guests are, but Narada has to burst his bubble. Narada's reality? He explains that the kings aren't dying in glorious battle right now because they're all very much alive, and they are all busy trying to woo the pearl of the earth, Damayanti. Narada tells Indra that this princess transcends all women in beauty, and literally every lord of the earth eagerly desires to have her.
Well, as you can probably imagine, you don't just tell a group of all-powerful immortals about the most beautiful woman on earth and expect them to sit this one out. Upon hearing from Narada that she transcends all women in beauty, the immortal gods, known as the Lokapalas, which includes Agni, the god of fire, drop absolutely everything. They mount their vehicles and speed toward Earth to compete. The quote from the text says it all. We also will go there. In a state of pure rapture, they decide to crash the wedding. So suddenly the earthly kings aren't just competing with each other, they're competing with the divine.
Which leads us to Part 4, the Divine Messenger. Meanwhile, the high-souled King Nala himself, the very man the swan spoke of, the guy who sparked Damayanti's intense lovesickness in the first place, is also on his way to the Swayamvara. He is completely unaware of the cosmic convergence happening around him, traveling with a cheerful heart full of Damayanti's love. And this sets up a massive collision course. The gods are literally flying down from heaven in their sky cars when they spot someone treading on the earth below them. It's a perfect cinematic moment. The immortals are descending from the clouds, eager to claim the most beautiful woman in the world, and they catch sight of a solitary figure making his way across the land.
They spot Nala, and the Lokapalas are so astonished by his incredible wealth of beauty that they actually abandon their intention, park their sky cars, and alight from the heavens. Just think about the irony here for a second. These are divine beings, gods of the elements, and they stop dead in their tracks because they are blown away by how good-looking a mortal is. The text explicitly says Nala is resplendent as the sun, looking like the god of love himself. He is so impressive that the gods actually hit the brakes and step down onto the earth to confront him.
Now, you might expect the gods to be jealous, right? To maybe strike him down as a formidable rival for Damayanti's hand. But instead of attacking him, the immortal gods surround the mortal king and issue this direct, highly dramatic command. O Nala, thou art devoted to truth, do thou help us. O best of men, be thou our messenger. They recognize his inherent nobility and his strict devotion to truth, and they decide to leverage that. They don't fight him, they recruit him.
Which leaves us with the ultimate cliffhanger. What do the gods want him to say, and how can he possibly deliver a message to the woman he loves on behalf of his powerful divine rivals? Think about the absolute psychological torture of this moment. The gods have just asked Nala to be their wingman for the exact woman he is traveling to marry. It is a masterclass in narrative tension, pitting mortal love against divine duty. Will he tell the truth and potentially lose his true love to the gods, or will he defy the immortals to follow his own hearth? It's a brilliant dilemma that forces us to question, what would we do in his shoes? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember, sometimes the greatest battles aren't fought with swords, but within the heart.